neon.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
I'm gonna call the order at 6:58, council meeting for June 17th, 2019. That's scheduled for 7 PM. If we could, Tara, I'd like to do a roll call vote. Roll call.
Alderman Motley? Here. Alderman Hudson?
Here.
Alderman Wilkins? Alderman Borman? Alderman Rogers?
Present.
Alderman Magley?
All right, before we got a quorum, I'm leading the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ready? First thing, we got the consent agenda, minutes of prior meetings, public works and public utilities, general government, public safety, minutes of the planning and zoning, and reports. The treasurer collector's reports, activity reports, and financials for May 2019. Any comments on the consent agenda?
Would there be a way we could come up with a one or two page financial summary that we can make in the packet, revenue, expenses, just kind of a high level, trying to think of a business report we look at, we can get a summary.
Okay.
Because as much as I try to look through some of these, I don't have the time, and I'm not.
What do we want in it? Do we want a budget overview by department? Just where we're at the plan of what the revenue budget is and where we're at year to date, or an overall finances in general? What do we know, how specific do we want it to be, by department, or?
I don't know. I don't know what other people look at with it. For me, I'm thinking
high level,
the
right?
health of the city is where I would be looking at, more than necessarily my department. The way I look at it, I expect Heather to manage the different departments, but like health of the city, what were the month expenses and revenue, where we are year to date, how's that compared to our budget?
I would like it by department. It's not a big hassle. It'd be easy.
Well, the
to
departments
read.
make up the overall budget, and there's 5 things. To me, you're.
It'd make it easy to read if you're just looking at one specific
Yeah.
group.
This data that's gotta be, on a monthly basis, it's gotta be accumulated anyway. It's there, it's just what do you ask for?
You can see what we have on format.
Something relatively, something easy.
Easy.
You're not gonna spend hours, but you usually can pull the information from.
Not very detailed.
So I'll spend some time going through, but I don't get through more than 10 pages of it.
The overview is good. I like that idea. Yeah.
I move that we accept the consent agenda as is.
Second.
A second. So consent, we've had a motion to approve and a second, the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
And who made the second?
Mr. Rogers.
All the
It was a weak second. So,
Next, we have accounts payable over $1,250 equaling $344,462.43. Do we have any comments on the accounts payable over $1,250? Any questions? I would entertain a motion to approve the AP over 1250, if there's no comments.
Still trying to get there. I looked at it earlier, but I hadn't got to it even this time.
Take it down.
Page 175.
I don't have any asterisks next to mine, so we'll go to
move that we accept the accounts payable over $1,250 for a total of $375,984.16.
Sorry.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the accounts payable of $1,250. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. We're at the point that we would entertain and welcome any comments from citizens. Do I have any citizens that would like to speak to this point? The next thing that we're going to be looking at is public comment regarding prepay or pay at the pump ordinance that has been going on and was approved. At this time, any citizens that would like to publicly make a comment about it, you're welcome to come up. Do I have any of those folks here?
I'm here, and I disapprove of it.
Could you come up to the microphone?
Oh, dear.
Oh, you're okay.
I
This
didn't
is
intend to do that.
no, it's a very safe environment, trust me. They put up with me for a couple of
You
months.
don't want to throw rocks at me, huh?
No.
Normally it comes the other direction.
Don't wait us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Could you give us your name and your address, please?
Nada Gibson,
Okay.
197 South Howard Burton. Centralia. So,
Go right ahead.
I don't even know for sure who my aldermen are. John Rogers, I think, I'm in Ward 2. And Mr. Hudson?
Myself, yes.
Ward 2.
There's just one. You'll have one alderman.
No,
No,
there's
it's
two.
two.
There's
Two.
one,
Two.
two. There's
I
two.
have-
Yeah.
Oh,
I
gotcha.
had
Per
before.
ward. Yep, gotcha.
Okay. Well, my problem is with this new ordinance is that, I've always went in, paid for my gas, and decided how much I wanted, but I never know how much I'm gonna want. Cause I never know how much my, tank's gonna take. And I know probably most everybody, when they look at their gas gauge, knows, well, I'm gonna get 5 gallon or whatever it is, but I never had to do anything like that when Floyd was alive. He did all of that. And so I just go in and I said, well, I pay $10 or $20 depending upon, what I think it is. And then I just go back out and pump my gas until it clicks off. Or I get to where I want to be. And so it's very, very inconvenient for me because I do not have a card like most people do. I'm not going to use a card. I'm hoping that I never have to use a card. And so I would have to park my car, go in, and pay for gas, and then go back to my car and pump my gas, and maybe I would go over or under, whichever the case might be. Then I have to go back in again and either, I assume this is the way it is, get change or pay more. And so I'm just not sure that this is the best way to go. And I know there's not very many people here that, I guess, feel the same way I do. But I know there is people in town that are very displeased with this. And I think that there should be more controversy over this and more detail go into it. You just pass an ordinance and people don't even know that it's going on until it's done. And I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair to people. And I'm not even sure that it's democratic when you can just tell somebody, you're gonna have to start paying for your gas this way. Well, we live in America and we shouldn't have to do that. I don't feel like we should have to do that. And I think that there should be some other way that you can handle this. And to me, if the businesses are so concerned about losing their money, and I can sympathize with that. But I don't think that's my problem because I would never, ever do anything like that. And so I think the problem really is with them. If they're so concerned about losing their gas money, then they need to take some responsibility themselves and put in some cameras then if they put in cameras and they can see a license plate or get a picture of someone, take it to the police department, because you've got your proof. And then I'm sure they would handle it. But if they, I know sometimes they just, drive off and you don't have anything to go by. If you just have, oh, well, this car was white or green or whatever, then they can't do anything about that. But if the businesses would just take some responsibility, which they should, it shouldn't be our responsibility to make sure that they get their gas money. And if they weren't so tight, or whatever the word might be, they would go ahead and do that. And then this would all be taken care of. There wouldn't even have to be an ordinance. There would not have to be an ordinance, because they could get whatever gas people drive off with. Is there really that many that people drive off?
Yeah.
Is there really that many?
We've got a large
Yeah.
amount.
The count was over 80 last I heard.
80 for,
Over 100 in the last 12 months.
80 for how long?
No, it was over 100 in 12, in a 12-month period, which was about 118, I believe was the last number.
In a year?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, is that really that many? I mean,
It is when we have to respond to every one of them, ma'am, yes.
well, that's what I'm saying. You wouldn't have to respond if these businesses would take responsibility and go ahead and put in their cameras. I mean, to me, it's just that simple. And I suppose nobody thinks it's simple but me. But all you have to do is say, if you businesses would go ahead and take care of this yourself, put in your cameras, and then when we see that someone has driven off with, without paying for the gas, just take the video to the police department and they can go and get it. I mean, they can find out who it is. Is it, I don't know.
It actually is that simple. In
It
many
is that
cases.
simple. It's just that
We
simple.
debated this quite a bit, and I think I may have annoyed a few people in the police department. I was against it at first. But what we were finding out is the businesses aren't investing in it. If it was my business, there'd be cameras up. So I can hand the police department, here's a printout of a license plate, who drove off,
Right,
and let them deal with it.
right. And they would.
One of the other things that, you mentioned a lot of good things, and I do really appreciate you coming in and sharing your opinion, I do. One of the things that was brought up at one night when we had an open discussion on this, because we had announced and it was open up for a public hearing. We had a public
I
hearing
missed
on this.
that. I missed that.
The manager at Casey's actually came in and said her employees are paying out of their own pocket to drive off so they don't get written up, which,
There's nothing fair about that.
oh, I agree completely.
There's nothing fair about that. Why should the employee be penalized for someone else driving off without paying for their gas?
They shouldn't be.
No, and it comes right down to the businesses that need to put in their video cameras. And if it was me, I would just say, well, if you don't want to put video cameras in, then you're just going to lose your gas money. I would not have this ordinance. I really wouldn't. I think it's terrible. I really do. And it's not only me that is affecting. It's other people my age and even some people that are not my age. But I don't know. It's just not. I don't think it's fair at all. I don't think it's fair at all. Because I don't think you should have to be told that you have got to pay for your gas in this way. That's not democratic. Is that democratic? No one knows whether it's democratic.
The process was democratic. Everything, the process was democratic. We had the public hearings, we followed, we did the things we were supposed to. Believe me, this is something, there was plenty of angst in here about passing this one. But there are people from the police department, we were spending a lot of time that we didn't feel we should have to spend on things that we can't even investigate, because you'd get into a report, well, it was a white guy in a blue car, he drove off.
I understand that. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, and they, they shouldn't be expected to do anything about something like that if they can't prove it. But I don't know how I guess you can't even, insist that the businesses put in video cameras or we're not going to do anything for you.
Yeah.
I hope that they lose a lot of business. I really do, I shouldn't do that thing, but it's because it's just not right. It is not right to tell people how they've got to pay for something. It's not right. And it's not right for the employees to make up the gas money that someone's drove off, not paying. Just to keep their job? Is that why they're doing it? I would just go and find myself another job somewhere. I sure wouldn't work and have to give up part of my paycheck because someone else didn't pay for their gas. Well, I think I've rattled long enough.
Well, no, I appreciate, there's 2 or 3 things that we discussed. One's the police time of having to go over because they had to respond to every one of these. It becomes cumbersome a lot because the way it was set up, we had to respond. Was there a potential way for us to have set this up to where if you have a drive-off, the police aren't gonna come to a drive-off and help you unless you bring in information to help? So there were some ways, I think, for us, that we've talked about that we could discuss this other ways to potentially alleviate the problem we have of the police department's time being tied up, okay? And at the same time, meet that need and not legislate local businesses to how they need to manage their business and protect themselves from loss. And that's what you were, I think, saying. So we've talked about that. That's why we're talking about it a little bit more to see, is this something that, we're okay with moving on forward with, or was there more discussion that need to be had? And that's what we're doing today.
Well, I think there needs to be more discussion on it, I really do.
And you have people show up that they're saying that they lost their job, they lost their money because they took it. Well, unfortunately, they can do that. I found out I called the labor board, they can do that. And
Really?
And because you as an associate or employee have the right to decide whether you want to work there or not and go by those terms.
Right.
So you could go somewhere else, you go to work somewhere else. So I would say that if folks aren't, you could lose your whole paycheck in one drive off of gas. So it's very, very impactful, folks, okay? So those are things we talked about, and they absolutely appreciate what you're telling us. And we got some other people, I think, that are gonna say something as well tonight, so.
And they actually can make you pay for the gas.
They can.
That,
I called the labor
That's
board.
asinine.
I called the, I agree.
It's a tough one.
If it wasn't
It's
for
a lot
that,
tougher than what, yeah,
if it wasn't for that one issue,
yeah.
I wouldn't have voted for this. I would have looked for another option.
well,
But how do you try to take care of both aspects? And there's 3 things we're trying to juggle here.
That's a tough one there,
You're right.
yeah.
well, if I was an employee, then I would definitely not work there.
Well,
But I realize that there's some people that maybe can't travel out of town or something. And Centralia doesn't have a lot of places to work. I understand all that.
But that being said, there are some that do not take that other employees' pay.
I know.
Neville, who has DCs, chooses not to do that.
Yeah, and that's good, But, I just think that there should be some other way to handle it. I really do. I hope y'all can figure out something. I didn't even know anything about it till I read it in the Guard, and Mr. Cox had said, I'm gonna give you guys some homework, okay? And that's when I first read about, you said, do some homework, see how your people feel about this, and get back, Okay, then in the very next Guard, it was already done. It was already done. It was a died deal. And I thought, well, from one week to the next week, they'd already decided what they were gonna do, so why did anybody have to do any homework? You'd already decided what you were gonna do.
Well, I asked about homework because I had a lot of feedback. What is that, Centralia, Missouri? I don't know, 30 people? How many vote? I don't know. Where is that? We gotta find a balancing act, but I heard enough feedback from not only senior, folks of the community, but also businesses have carried on about it a little bit because they have charge accounts and don't know how much fuel they want for their trailer of equipment as well as their truck. They want to get supplies, snacks. So that's why I brought that up. So
there's more than just gas,
sure.
connected with it, and I understand that. But I just hope that something can be done about it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you for listening.
Really appreciate you coming.
Thank you for coming up. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Joe, come up.
Oh, my wife doesn't like it either, but she didn't know there was gonna be a discussion. Could you come back next month and
I don't know where we'll be at with it by next month. If she don't like it, she can. And just tell her she don't like the ordinance we put in. She has the right to comment and tell us that anytime she wants to. So. Joe?
I'm Joe Bryson, 408 North Stone Street. I think Netta pretty well said what needed to be said. I think she done a very nice job of explaining everything. The thing I don't understand is why the city council's trying to run other people's business for them. I don't think you have any right, as far as I'm concerned, to tell the service station they gotta do it this way. And I understand the police department's problem, but like Netta said, they don't have cameras one day or another. They don't have anything to go off of anyway, so why even bother? If they want to protect that and not have cameras, they need to hire somebody to go out there and pump the gas, and then they can get the license number and everything that they need. But if you start things like this, the next thing I know, you'll be asking people to put the deposit up before they put anything in their basket at the grocery store. So, that's where you're gonna be. So, think about that when you pass an ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joe.
Mine's completely different. It has nothing to do with the department.
I think y'all know who I am. I'm Tim Griffey from 230 South Hickman. And I'd like to concur with the two previous speakers. You know, when I first became the mayor, I had somebody talking to me about trying to make all the restaurants in Centralia smoke-free. And I basically told that person that that is the business's responsibility. If they want a smoke-free restaurant, they need to pass that on their own. And I kind of feel the same way if the, you know, I understand the police department's, you know, view of having to go out and respond to these thefts, and that's what it is. And, but I also concur that, you know, if the gas station owners want to prevent that, invest in some better cameras. You know, I mean, you can get a pretty decent set of cameras for less than $500 at, you know, Home Depot, Walmart, or Staples, or something like that. And, you know, but to legislate and tell business owners, this is what you will do, is, I think, exceeds the authority of the city council. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Joe.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Anybody else on the prepaid phone? You're for something different. Come right on up.
Before we go on, I've had several people in my office who have complained.
Okay, we'll finish, yeah, that's right, go ahead. You've had several complaints. What feedback have you got, Donnie, from constituents, if you could let us know?
Well, one lady just told me flat out she won't buy any more gas in her town.
Okay,
When you lose your gas, you're gonna lose some other purchases too.
okay. Don Rogers, have you heard, what kind of feedback have you got?
I heard nothing. Yeah, and I guess, you know, we listen to the police department, which we should. And like I said earlier, this is a tough one.
It is.
But what we didn't do, or I feel we didn't do, or I didn't do, we didn't what if it. We were just looking at one direction. We didn't put ourselves, well, what if we were the customer? Well, we did, I don't think we ever did that. Well, I'm old now, so I'm gonna say it this way. An older person that doesn't have, well, I do have a credit card, but what would I do? We never did that. We were just looking at the one about the employees getting it out of their paycheck hit us hard. And we didn't believe it at first, but that stuck with us, you know, and
We probably were emotional as a group when they voted, because you had 4 people out here talking about how it affected their livelihood of their family. We had nobody else here naturally. It was posted that was gonna be on, we were gonna talk about it. Not everybody gets those, right, and are aware that that's gonna happen. And so it becomes very emotional when you have 4 or 5 families represented out here, basically. And I think it's easy to get caught up in wanting to meet a need for the city, meet a need for individuals, and the problem is at what cost, and sometimes in most we get caught up into that. I think it's one thing we have to guard against, is to make sure we take the time to step back and take a breath and say, I understand that, but you have an option as an associate to be able to work somewhere else if they don't do that. You know, and that's, you know, I thought the product was illegal, because when I called the labor board, they said, absolutely not. It's a term and condition, if you chose to do those terms and conditions, that would work, so.
Can I add one thing to what I said? I also would go in and pump my gas and then go in to pay for it. And I would also often buy other things, oil, candy bar, whatever. Well, now I have to buy my gas at the pump, but if I want something else, I can go in and have another transaction, and that's another credit card service charge for the business. So, if you use a credit card, or
You got something else to add?
There's one other thing. When I was in business about 40 years here, I had a bookkeeper, the county, and I had a big guy, a couple of guys wanted to buy a car I had or a truck I had, take it out of their check. That's illegal, you can't do that. There's a law against that. They can pay you or sign their check over to you, but you cannot automatically take it out of their check without having everything in writing and legalized, notarized.
Yep. Different for a term of employment, how you get paid, some wages, and what you're responsible for in the job description. That's how they get out of it in this, I can tell you right now. That's how this is different than that. You're exactly right, just like you can't take someone's vacation pay.
Yeah, right.
You gotta pay it. You can't hold their paycheck either.
One other thing about these credit cards, if you listen to what you read and the TVs, that's the easiest place for them to put a reader on your card and get your numbers, and the next day you got a couple, $300, maybe $1,000 charged against you that you don't know.
I've traveled all over, and I've had that happen twice.
Yeah.
And I had a credit card in my pocket. It wasn't a stolen credit card, they stole my information, and they were down in Houston, Texas, going to Kroger and getting $150 and $200 at a time. So I've had that twice. So I go in, I usually prepay. So for me, it's no problem anywhere I go. Once you leave Centralia, this is truly a Mayberry, if there is one left, right? Everybody knows everybody.
And it should be Mayfair. We're just a small town.
Agreed, I'm not, but the problem is you go, I think Hallsville will still let you just go ahead and start pumping it, but you go outside of, you go to Mexico, it's not gonna happen. You're gonna have to prepay, and so that's the point. So for me, but we have to look the whole thing. So as we talk about that, absolutely good feedback. You heard anything when you're in there?
Well, actually, I kind of got a little bit in trouble for my son. My son holds 2 to 3 jobs. He's a full-time student. And so probably about a year and a half ago, he was filling up with gas, and he was late to class, and he pulled off without paying. And luckily, he has a friend that works at the police department, called and said, hey, you've got to pay for your gas. And he felt awful for it, awful. So he went embarrassed, paid for his gas, and he will never forget, ever again. So I kind of got a little bit in trouble, I guess, by him saying, Mom, remember what happened to me? And, well, yeah, that's true. I kind of forgot all about that. So it was just kind of an innocent thing for him. So, but there are the people out there, though, they know what they're doing.
I agree with that.
Heather and I have talked. I think we know there's a lot to this. Heather and I have talked, and I don't think Heather's had time to really look, but we don't know what Columbia does, but they have a different deal where they don't mandate what the business does, but they also alleviate the police of having to go due to the fact they tell everybody up front, it's up to you. We will not come to a drive-off. Okay? Now, we would welcome, I'm sure, if somebody came in with a film of who it was and they drove off and they had a good tag number, that kind of thing. We could at least take a report on that if they brought it to us. But we were having to report, follow up on all this. Would that be fair, Bob, to say that?
I had this conversation with a couple of you previously. And if you tell me it's okay not to respond to drive-offs, it's gonna have to come from you. I'm not putting it in my policy.
Mhm.
I want you all to understand, I'm okay with that. If they, you know, Extreme Mart or any of these people that actually do have cameras that actually work, if they wanna come and say, hey, this is what I've got,
Mhm.
they can bring the police department, we'll look at it, say, okay, yeah, we'll look it up and see what we can do, that's fine. But if you tell me I don't have to respond to drive-offs, I'm good with that.
I think the caveat would be a drive-off, what you have to be careful of is when we make a general statement like that, we have too many things in general, right?
Well, if
If-
it's a
as
drive-off
long as
without
it's-
any other
It's a drive-off
extenuating
with no,
circumstances.
with no physical,
Extenuating
extenuating
circumstances.
circumstances, that's what we call it, right?
Right.
Otherwise, you have.
And the thing is, if it's an assault, the fact is we're going anyway.
Yeah, so
It doesn't matter what
There's
the
another
bottom
charge,
line is there.
if there's another charge other than the theft
Yeah.
of the gas,
Yeah,
then you would
it
respond.
doesn't matter what the cause of the assault was, we're going in.
Right, sure.
I'm just saying drive-offs. In general, gasoline drive-offs, no extenuating circumstances.
Okay. Just for our knowledge to know.
Well, Mr. Bryson had the answer to this. Just, let's get these people wearing these little hats and they fill the, put
Hey,
the
go back
gas
full
in there and
circle.
check your oil and do the windshield. Let's go back to that. You think you can get that going?
Right? If that's what, if they want to protect their store, they can do
I'm
that.
in favor of that.
They don't.
All righty. I think we've discussed that part of it. I would say that we would, is it fair for me to say that we maybe should consider doing this differently than how we've done it, the ordinance we passed, and think about it further? Or do we just need to be done with it? And
Well, I did talk to, someone at Extreme Mart, I can't remember her name, and I asked her about what is she, you know, how things are going with that, getting the computer system in, or whatever it is that they use. And she said that it's gonna be more than 30 days
Mhm.
to get that computer system in and get it, you know, ready. So that's gonna be, she said there will be some good things and bad things with it. But, I mean, they've already ordered it, probably a lot of these businesses have already ordered that.
But the Extreme Mart told me, the people at when this first was going on, that they had a lot of people complaining about it as they came in. When's this gonna start? When's it gonna happen? Of all economic backgrounds, all kinds of demographics of age. So, I mean, there was a lot of understanding that, but, I don't know. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there.
So with that, what do we?
I think we need to change the ordinance and then make it if Extreme Mart ordered their equipment in, and if they wanna go ahead and do it, let them do it. I mean, if they ordered the equipment and that's the way they wanna do it, then do it.
And you're saying we could get, you know, what we need to probably find out from Sydney is would we have to have an ordinance saying that we're not, I mean, how does that work? Do we just say that we're not gonna respond, or how we gotta do it, you know?
We'll just talk to Cindy.
We'll talk to Sydney about it. So my question is, as a group, are we open to rescinding what we did on passing the ordinance to look at, allowing the businesses run themselves as long as we're able to alleviate the police department from having to make the calls? I mean, that's what I'm hearing from, I don't know, is that what I'm hearing? I don't know. I can't dictate what we're gonna do. I'm not going to, you know, I mean. Depends on what you guys feel comfortable with.
I'm okay with rescinding.
We'll bring it back in July, on the 8th.
In
Can
July,
we rescind an existing ordinance tonight?
They don't think so.
I think, you gotta post it, though.
I think so.
Yep.
I think,
I think we have to.
I think so. So I'd say we would look to rescind it, potentially have a discussion of rescinding the vote, of the ordinance.
Do you wanna rescind it or just rewrite it?
Or amended.
Amend it, I'd say we'll amend this one, because the fact is, I think you're gonna have an ordinance that we're not gonna, that's on the books, and
I don't care where it goes, I
With-
don't care if it's just in the minutes or if it's in an ordinance, it doesn't matter to me how it goes. As long
but
as-
we need to find out from Sydney how that needs to go to protect us from legally. Yeah, and it has to have, I think, not generics in there, it has to be very clearly spelled out what a drive-off is. That doesn't associate with any other crime during the occurrence of the drive-off, right? So I mean, I think that needs to be in the body of it, because we want to make sure we get away from general statements. You hear me say unsightly in the ordinance, right, all the time?
Right.
But I mean, too generic it leaves too much gray area. So I think probably that's what we need to do. So we'll leave it with you to talk with Sydney, and we can reconvene on that, and we'll do it in July.
Well, I do have a question though.
Sure.
What if the businesses have already ordered their computer system to get this started and they're getting ready to install it, and all of a sudden we're pulling back and saying, wait. I mean, we pretty much put that in their hands to purchase and.
Well, I guess I have a hard, I mean, I know that Casey's has prepaid at the vault in other places, not here. I can tell you that for a fact. I know that Break Time does, because you find me at Break Time you can walk into, you don't have it. Anybody that is they've chosen not to in Centralia, because it saved them a little expense. So, I don't know, I don't know. There's such a thing as collateral damage sometimes, but I think when we look at the overall, we have to look at what are we doing and why are we doing it. And I've had the stance from the beginning that we should not legislate business to manage their business so it's profitable and they stay in business, or they go home and don't have a business anymore. I mean, that's my stance on it, but now naturally, if we were to decide as a group and walk out in the street and we're not gonna do anything on this thing and leave it the way it is, you won't see me carrying on with people and saying, oh yeah, they got it wrong. No, we're a team. And so whatever we decide, we'll do. So I want to be very clear of that when I give my opinion, you know, because I'm a pretty direct guy, but I'm also a team player on what we're gonna do, the decisions we make. But we struggle with this part of it.
We struggle.
With that part of it, of legislating business, how they should manage their business. Because you start to overstep a bound as a government, right? I think that's the thing for me. It's not, and I don't mean it's bad, it's not so much that you have to go to the pump twice, okay? I prepare where I go, but the point being, we shouldn't have to legislate business how they run themselves. We can put an ordinance in what we're not gonna do to support a business in some ways with the police department or our services. But, so, we'll talk about this again, it'll be on the agenda is that fair? Is everybody okay with that?
It's gonna be on for July 8th, is that what you
So
said?
we want,
Yeah.
make a motion that we have a special meeting on July 8th before our other meetings.
Do you want to do a special meeting, or do you want to just see what a proposed solution would be and then pass it on July 15th?
I think that would be good enough, and I think everybody out there would be happy with that. We don't have to rush this thing a week or two later.
So we're talking about July,
Yeah,
It'll be July 15th.
whatever the normal.
whatever the.
That would be the passage of an ordinance, but July 8th would be to review
Right,
revisions,
right.
to discuss it.
I know you want a special
You
meeting.
want to make a motion to do that? They need a motion to do that? Okay, good. Thank everybody for your discussion on the topic of pay at the pump or prepay. We missed you because we had general discussion before that for the citizens. So I'd like to ask you to come up at this time to state your comments to the council.
Okay. I'm here about,
Name and address, ma'am.
Darla Harrigan, 1389 Highway 22 East,
Okay.
Lot 53.
We've talked on the phone. Good.
Yeah, I recently just got done with court again over the trailer park. They filed under a statute where there was no gray area, it was yes or no. The judge did get very upset with them in court because we weren't allowed to bring the previous eviction into discussion. The park still owes me $2,600. They have come forth now with, I have to pay double rent
Okay,
Until
Dara,
I leave.
we've talked a lot. Help me understand what you want from the city, what the city can do, because none
Well,
of this is city business
I mean-
as far as the agreement you have with the trailer park, is that
Right.
correct?
But there's also ordinances, I mean, the spot I'm on doesn't even meet code. The sewer is so backed up now, you can't even take a shower.
Well, but again, that's part of the sewer system that runs in the facility. It's not our sewer system that's backed up.
No, we've had our crews out to look and.
I know,
things are not
but isn't
blocked.
there some kind of ordinance at all?
We don't really have
Where
an
they have
ordinance.
to meet code?
If you're saying that a bad landlord, I don't know if we have a real ordinance against that, but I mean, you have to prove too that the landlord's being in a court of law. I mean, and you've been in court with the landlord a couple times now, right?
This is the second eviction, yeah.
Yeah.
There are
And
instances
and they're
where,
not being held to the 5-year contract that we signed. I have never been late on lot rent. We proved it in court. I took every receipt. On the statement they sent me April 18th, they charged me between $130 and $150 a month every month last year for late fees.
if there is.
And they're allowing felons out there, I mean, and I was told to get a camera. I did that, got a camera. They cut my internet line 3 days after it was hooked up.
Did you get a picture of them doing it? Who was doing it?
No, but,
Oh,
Charter came out there to fix it,
oh,
and they said it was plain cut, it's in the report.
okay.
Last night I got on my internet, there are 3 Netflix accounts charged to my internet. I didn't order 3, so they're getting the code somehow.
Well, you know, we were just talking about how people have their identity stolen to gas stations to have a car in their pocket, so I mean, anything's possible.
And they can shut off the cameras,
Right.
trust me.
Well,
They
so, again, I'm getting back, I mean, there may be things are you asking us to look into the landlord, or is really the city, the discussions we've had, I'm not trying to be, because I've talked to you, we've talked extensively, right, a couple of
Yeah.
times, and I've been willing to do that, and I'll do that with anybody that calls me. My point is, I don't see where the city, it's not under our jurisdiction to manage who they have live there. That's up to them whether they wanna have felons or they, you know, I mean, people make
That's right,
mistakes.
but you were just talking how this is the only Mayberry left. What's going on out there? If you allow it, then, and everybody just overlooks it.
I don't believe we overwork anything when it comes to criminal activity or anything like that. I think they've responded every time. Has the police not responded to you? And,
Oh, no, they just told me to get a camera, which I did, and it didn't work anyway.
well, but,
Now the lines on my vehicle have been cut.
okay.
It goes in Thursday morning for repair. There was still, they even left their tools there.
Okay.
If there's sewer backups and it's like spewing out onto the ground and
It
makes
is,
it
it's
unsanitary,
saturated. I
then we
mean,
can disconnect all of the water service. But that's not gonna benefit you at all, but we'll disconnect the water service there until it's fixed.
I mean, the whole yard is just full of septic. You can't even walk through it. It smells up into the house to where it makes you sick. And I'm not the only one. There's 3 people out there that hasn't paid lot rent in 2 months because of it.
Well, would this, maybe, could I and Mike come over and take a look at it tomorrow and get a look at your yard and your,
Oh,
all
yeah,
you're telling us,
yeah,
so we get
'cause
pictures of it?
anything you pour down my sink is out in the front yard.
And that would be only on behalf of us, seeing if it was something that we feel would be,
You can smell
Yeah,
it.
if it's a health hazard, then we'll turn it off. We've done that before.
So-
Until it's fixed.
that's the best I know to be able to help you with something that's,
I mean, but
Relevant.
allowing them to do this is just crazy. It's not like everybody's dying to get in out there and there ain't no vacant lots.
well, if you don't run a business well, you won't have a business, so I mean, that's the
So they
owner's-
just want you to leave your home for nothing is what they want. And that's okay. Okay. Well, I figured out a way around it. I
Well,
saw
my
mine and I
question
was
is
there
this,
anyway.
Dora, we talked. Did you sign a 5-year?
Yes, I did.
Okay, a contract is good as gold anywhere you go, and if you sign a contract, it's hard to get a hold of a landlord, it's very hard to hold a landlord accountable when you have, and if you have a second, if somebody co-signs on that lease with you, they will get your money from one of the 2 of you, and there's a
I
couple
signed
of
a
us.
5, no, they welched out of the 5-year contract.
Oh, they want out?
Yeah, they got out, and now they're charging me double rent when they signed a 5-year contract with me.
So, what?
So that's okay.
I'll come take a look at it. That's a legality between you and the owner.
We already went to court.
Right. So you gotta settle that part. I'll come out tomorrow.
No, I found a way around it.
Okay, well, good.
They're not getting my money. but-
That's good for you, because it's been a bad experience for you.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I welcome that for you, because I know you've had a lot of problems. We can come out and take a look at the sewage on the ground and see if it meets an environmental risk type thing. Is that fair? Is that okay? All right. Thank you. All righty, I think that closes the comments from the citizens and our discussions about pay at the pump, as well as general comments from the citizens. We have action agenda, we don't have any finance, have none of that. Permits and licensing, we have none. Legal, we have a bill proposal of amending section 18-4 of the Code of the City of Centralia, Missouri to add other movable objects and adding subsection A to add fines for violations of this section. If I could I get Councilman Mormon, would you read this for us, please?
We're gonna have a discussion on it first, or?
Well, you can if you want, sure,
Well, I mean,
absolutely.
this is the first time I've seen it, so I was just
Sure,
like.
well, take your time and look it over.
I would just like to hear from staff as to what,
Right, this
Hold on.
actually came up,
Mhm.
at the end of last week. I was talking to Lieutenant Cribs, and we had a complaint, and then we've had more than one complaint, but this kind of brought it to the forefront of basketball goals. This was, specific complaint was about a certain neighborhood that's very crowded anyway. Basketball goals in the street, and they just keep popping up more and more and more, and congesting the street, and sometimes kids playing in the street. So we already had this section of the city code that prohibits people from having things that block the street, that block the flow of traffic. But this would add specifically the portable basketball goals, trailers, trash containers, just anything that is blocking the street, blocking the flow of traffic. And that's the only thing that we've added here. Everything, what's been added is underlined. Everything else was already there. And then subsection A adds penalties, because before we had no penalty, we had no, I mean, there was no reason for them to move them because they didn't have any penalties for that. But this would help us, this would actually help us even in like snow removal situations, because we have a lot of basketball goals that are on the streets, and we say, please move them, and people don't always. And so this way we can say, please move them, or you're going to get a fine.
Does this include alleys also, or just streets?
Mhm.
The ordinance, I saw,
I think
did
it says-
include alleys.
It does
Says
include
alleys.
alleys.
Yeah.
Mhm. They cannot block the public, the flow of traffic. We did consult with city on this, these are her recommendations.
you want me to go ahead and read it?
Sure, if you would, if everybody's ready, go ahead, Don.
Bill number?
2304.
I move that bill number 2304 be given its first reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
I move, a bill to create an ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending the section 18-4 of the Code of the City of Centralia, Missouri, to add other movable objects and adding subsection A to add fines for violations of this section. I move that bill number 2304 be given a second reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
An ordinance amending section 18-4 of the Code of the City of Centralia, Missouri, to add other movable objects and adding subsection A to add fines for violations of this section. I move that bill number 2304 be given its, be adopted by roll call vote.
Second.
Motion's made, seconded for roll call vote to adopt, Bill 2304. Terry, would you do a roll call vote, please?
All in favor?
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Yes.
Alderman Rogers.
4.
Bill 2304 passes. Ordinance number.
3022.
Second on the agenda, we have approved the final plat of Southwest County Estates, Plat 5 ordinance. You may bring us up to speed a little bit on that, if you have anything to add to it, other than it's just.
This was approved by planning and zoning originally in June 2018, was it June 14th, I think?
Okay. No.
Or maybe 11th, June 14th or 11th of 2018. And then there was a minor change that was approved by planning and zoning last week on June 12th, 2019. It just included an easement for another street light in the middle of the street. So this would be accepting plat 5, which is not the final plat. I think the original agenda said final, but it's not final. It did say final at first, but it's not final.
It's a final plat, it's just not the
Okay.
last plat.
Yes,
Okay, it's not the
phase.
last phase,
Yeah.
okay. So this would be approving that plat.
So is it the final plat or not the final?
It's the final plat of plat 5. But
Of
not the
plat
final,
5.
yeah, but not the final,
There's one more.
final.
There's a 6.
We're gonna say final again.
There is a 6.
There will be a 6.
Is that your final answer?
That's my final answer.
Final? Okay. Any questions, any discussion? Comments? Discussion? Well, no more discussion. Bill number for this? We got a,
Somebody present it.
oh yeah, you got to present it first, I remember. Yeah. I'm still learning, but I'll get there. Got 2 years, so I'll make it. Councilman Rogers, would you read,
I'd love to.
thank you, buddy.
Bill number
2305.
Move that bill number 2305 be given its first reading by title only.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Bill number 2305, an ordinance approving plat 5 of Southwest Country Estates, a subdivision of a portion of block M of J.C. Hit subdivision in section 16, township 51 north, range 11 west, in the city of Centralia, Boone County, Missouri, and accepting dedication to the city of Centralia, Missouri, of the utility easements and street right-of-way in said plat as the public property of the city of Centralia, Missouri. Move that bill number 2305 be given its second reading by title only.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded for second reading. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
An ordinance approving plat 5 of Southwest Country Estates, a subdivision of a portion of block M of J.C. Hitts subdivision in section 16, township 51 north, range 11 west, in the city of Centralia, Boone County, Missouri, and accepting dedication to the city of Centralia, Missouri, of the utility easements and street right-of-way in said plat as the public property of the city of Centralia, Missouri. Move that bill number 2305 be adopted by roll call vote.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded for roll call vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Good, roll call vote.
Alderman Magley.
No.
Alderman Rogers.
4.
Alderman Borman.
Before I vote, let me explain something. State law basically requires that subdivision plats be approved as long as they meet the requirements. So this is more a vote of saying that this does meet the requirements of Centralia. However, since I did the plat, I think there's the appearance, there's really not a conflict for me to vote, but there's the appearance of a conflict for me to vote for this since I did the plat, so I will abstain.
Alderman Hudson.
4.
Alderman Motley. 4.
I just don't want to read it again.
Bill, yeah, let's not do that. It's been passed by roll call vote. Bill number 2305 will become ordinance number
3023.
3023. All right, next on the agenda is repealing subsection A of section 13-13 of the Centralia City Code, replacing it with a new subsection 13-13A to set service charges for the collection and disposal of solid waste. Any comments or questions, discussion?
It's just changes the commercial rates, not the residential.
I'm surprised to see some are going down based on the conversation last time.
There were a couple of them that were
Yeah.
a little bit old.
So obviously they need to be relined.
Yeah, trying to be fair, you know, so, yeah, they did a good job of catching those and making them consistent, I think, to move forward with additions. All right.
There was one small change. Right now we charge $7.50 for a large bulky item. And this would affect residentials. It's just for anything extra, so you're allowed one large bulky item per week. In order to cover our costs, we need to charge $8 because we're not covering our costs with the $7.50. They charge us $7.88. So that does increase to $8.
That's one bulky item per week or per month?
Per week. Everyone's allowed one free per week, but so let's just say you have a couch and a love seat. You get the couch for free, we pay $8 for the love seat.
Okay.
So.
Any further discussion? I would ask that, Alderman Motley, would you be okay with reading this before?
Yes.
I know you hate it.
All right, move that bill number 3023 be given its first reading by title only.
Second.
Oh, I wrote it down wrong, sorry.
You're fine.
2306. I move that bill number 2306 be given its first reading by title only.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to read first. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
An ordinance repealing subsection A of section 13-13 of the Centralia City Code and replacing it with the new subsection 13-13A to set service charges for the collection and disposal of solid waste. Move that bill number 2306 be given its second reading by title only.
Second.
Been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
An ordinance repealing subsection A of section 13-13 of the Centralia City Code and replacing it with the new subsection 13-13A to set service charges for the collection and disposal of solid waste. Move that bill number 2306 be adopted by roll call vote.
Second?
Motion is for roll call vote and been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Here, could you roll call vote? Bill number 2306.
Alderman Magley,
Yeah.
Alderman Rogers,
4.
Alderman Borman,
Yes.
Alderman Hudson,
4.
Alderman Motley.
Yes.
Okay, by your vote, bill number 2306 passes, becomes ordinance number
3024.
3024. Thank you. Now to purchasing. Approving the proposal from the Axon for a 5-year agreement for purchase and replacement of body cameras for Centralia Police Department with a 5-year total cost of $36,490.
I move that we accept the proposal from Axon for a 5-year agreement for the body cameras at a total of $36,490.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to accept the 5-year total cost for the Centralia Police Department for body cameras, $36,490.
Now, is there a warranty on those cameras if they break or?
If I can send them a piece back, if we drive over one, I send them a piece back, they send us a new one.
What if you can't get a piece to send back?
They say it's a no-fault warranty.
Okay.
And I've heard no complaints whatsoever from anybody that has it, and there's a lot of places that have it, so.
Sounds like within 5 years of assuming.
I'll send the diver in if they dump it in the lake or something. We'll get it back.
So I have a motion and a second to accept 5-year total cost of $36,490 from Axiom. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, folks, very much.
So the one, that, I agree we need to do it, but now how do we come up with, what, the $2 grand? Do we need to come up with extra?
Well, we've got, where are we at, Heather, on the car? I haven't heard.
When I got a hold of, I've got deals, the person that won the bid on the car has been reported for non-payment. And so they offered it to the next bidder, which was $5 difference. So, I'm just waiting to hear back from our contracted gov deals.
So it was, what we had budgeted, help me.
6,000.
Yeah, so.
So we have
we've got
7,000 total, and then.
Because
they're
yeah,
not
yeah.
showing
Total,
the
it
car.
was total of, what, 2,300 this year, right?
Yeah.
$9,300.
Yeah, 2,322 short from the budget with the $1,000 gift that was received.
Okay, so the fact is, I mean, I don't
Sell
want
the
to
car,
pay
yeah.
Paul, but,
So the car will have it.
yeah, so the car will have it, so.
Good.
If we can find
Second, we have under purchasing, approving the purchase of water meters.
one. We had not discussed this. Had we had this information last week, we would have discussed it, but, we purchased several water meters. I think we purchased 40 water meters. 2,000 in stock left of the meters that we currently have. That's it. The good thing about these meters is that whenever we move to our AMI system, the new system will still read these kind of water meters, and we don't have to do a complete change out of water meters. But out of the 40 or 50 that we ordered last year, the water department, Matt Rush said he is down to 7, and 5 are spoken for. So we need to order, he'd like to order 50, because they haven't put any in over at Addie Lane yet. So we know we have several that are gonna go over there.
And then these will work with the new system?
Yeah, they're exactly what we have. So
Good.
we'd like to approve this purchase. It's gonna be $9,500 total.
For water meters?
Yeah.
Okay. So, approving, I'm looking for motion of approving the purchase of water meters for $9,500. Approximately 40 of them, I believe is what you said.
50.
50, okay, 50 of them, 50 meters.
I move to approve the purchase of 50 of M25 water meters for a total of $9,500 from Midwest Meter.
It's 50, Matt thinks 50 is gonna get him for a while.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Even with the changeover, shouldn't be a problem.
Shouldn't be a problem, yeah. Because the system will read these meters, so everything that's in the ground now will be readable with the new system.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded by Councilman Rogers. To approve the $9,500 for 50 meters, for the water department. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Now we're to old business. Is there any old business?
Yeah, where are we with our construction plans?
We have the construction plans. There were a couple of minor changes that they had to make, because, and actually, I think Linda pointed it out to Mike, they had 8 inches of concrete the whole way instead of 6. MoDOT does require the 8, so he changed that a bit. We have the plans to look at, here in the office, if anybody wants to look at. They've been sent to Ron Stewart and as well as Chris Fink to review. So everybody's just reviewing, and then we'll be looking to go out for bid.
Sure. Update on the Narragansett building, and the other is that we, as of tomorrow, will be at a point that we believe the 18 days posting will be done. And at that point, we believe, unless something comes up, that we should be able to go ahead and start looking at bids for the demolition of, on the grant, for the Narragansett building. And Stowers' place, and then out at the nursery, So that should be coming along pretty quick, and we have a lot of people that wanna bid on it.
I was gonna say, you gonna put that in the paper,
Mhm.
for our side guard?
Yeah. We've got a list, people been leaving cards and stuff too, I think we have as well, so we can contact a lot of people, and so potentially we're looking at 6, 7, 8 weeks at the most, probably for it to be.
And when they bid all three of them, right? They don't just bid,
Right.
one person doesn't bid that and then this.
Yeah, bid all three.
What's the third building? You've got Stowers, Narragansett,
Greenhouse.
Greenhouse out there on this side of the overpass.
Ordnance Greenhouse.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. New business, that's the old business. Any other questions about any of those two subjects? Okay. New business, for me, I'd like to appoint, Susan Alshire to the Planning and Zoning Commission to replace Lee Allen's, Smith's unexpired term, ending September 1st, 2019.
Lee Allen resigned, from planning and zoning last Wednesday.
Did he resign or is it permanent?
No, he resigned.
No, he resigned.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to accept Susan Alshire to replace Lee Allen Smith, the unexpired term ending September 1st, 2019. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes, she's appointed. Now, the city administrator.
My report is in the packet, if you have any questions on that.
City attorney is not, got anything, right?
No. She
City
was out
clerk?
of town tonight.
City clerk? Good. As may arise?
Oh, I did, so the board approved a new fine schedule, but apparently does not meet the specific guidelines that OSCA has passed down, and so the judge will not sign it until we pass something that meets those specific guidelines. So just to let you all know.
She signed it today.
Oh, she signed that
She
today?
signed it today.
Nice.
Okay, never mind.
Never mind, that's good, you're good.
No more to rise.
Never mind.
And it's already arose and gone, so. I would, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second. I'll make a motion. I seconded it before I made the motion.